welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club with 4 race starts. We're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red.
Ella Vink is going for it here. That is the first sprint of the race today, and Ella Vink, well, she's pushed on because she wanted to pick up that green jersey. I'm really liking that Lloyd has joined. This is her first Sunday race club, and she is not shy. She is not retiring. She is not just sat in the bunch having a ride. She is absolutely making a mark. They are also going past Category 3 and Category 4 back markers, but she's not done as much damage as she probably would have liked to this group. I think she's going to have lost 1 or 2 riders.
Front of the race, we are going to see the catch. So the first of the riders who are going to make the junction to Chantilly, Idzik, Smithson and Vink are going to be our Category 3 leaders.
Hadlock just coming onto the front here and pushing on a little bit because this group is too large. You know, there are 6 riders still in this group.
For one rider, it's going to be Hadlock, is it? She's gone hard. She's at 7 watts per kilo. She's kicking at 10. Massive kick from Hadlock. She's going to take this victory by a mile. What a ride. Hello and welcome to the Sunday Race Club here from MyWhoosh. We're at Qualifier Race number 3. And when I say we, it's me. My name's Matt Payne. I'm joined here in the studio
by Emma Martin.
Emma, great to be back in the studio. I absolutely loved last week's racing. It was monster.
It was indeed.
Absolutely monster. And we got something rather special today, haven't we? Because we saw our very first visit to the European shores onto some of my favourite terrain last week for the men. We're there for the women.
Yep, we are indeed. We are going to Belgium. The women today get to race for the very first time on this course in Belgium. So 35 kilometres of racing, 325 metres of climbing, and take a look at those bergs. So today the women, 2 300-metre sprints, but 4 climbs, and they come thick and fast. So between 3.9 kilometres and 1.3 kilometres of climbing with gradients. They do not look as an average gradient to be that difficult, but we will see gradients kick to 17% today. So really, really interesting today. And take a look at that finish. It is a 6-kilometre downhill flat running. This is going to be a good one.
It is. Attacking, got to get over the sprint. You've got to make it to the finish. Of the 324 metres of climbing, Emma, I worked it out. It's 282 metres of climbing. So just under 300 metres of the 324 are in those climbs. In between, it's basically flat.
It's pretty pancake flat the rest of the time.
Yeah, going to be a good one, isn't it?
It is indeed. It's going to be so interesting to see how the women race this course.
So let's dive in. As you can see, our categories 1, 2, 3 and 4 in yellow, green, blue and red respectively are all lined up in the pens. Lots of riders joining great race fields. Let's look at them in depth. Let's start with the first category away. This is our category 4 in the red, and some familiar names.
Yes.
Salama Al-Kaibi, Elizabeth Smithson, for example. Some new names as well.
There are indeed 22 riders on the start sheets in Category 4 today. No teams present. That we are going to save for next week because next week is the monthly final. Today, Smithson is here, Acevedo Marin is here, Becerra is here, Mayer is here. Vink, who has been absolutely on form this month. This is going to be a very different course today, so it's going to be interesting to see what she can do. De Grecia is here, Gentili, Idzik. We have, as you say, 5 new riders joining this category: Kirchner, Ramirez, De Goss, Galeno and Franco.
So going to be very interested to see how our new riders get on, as well as our established riders. Our new riders, of course, doing their 2 qualifying rides, or of course qualifying by riding on the platform elsewhere and showing us what they can do. So who is going to be showing us what they can do at the front of the Category 4 race? Here we go. Qualifier number 3 is underway. The first riders heading out from the pens in this very typical Flemish town. It is very reminiscent. If you go to any of the cyclocross or the classics, you'll see something very similar to this. Maybe not quite as colourful at times, particularly in the depths of winter in cyclocross.
When it's grey and drizzly, it doesn't look quite so green.
No, or quite so yellow, red, or multicolour, but we've got to keep it bright. This is MyWhoosh. Now, out from the pens, one rider just being distanced from the start there. You can see that on the left-hand side of your screens. We're going to keep an eye on that as we go off from the start. Just seeing Isaac definitely in there. Gentili, who you saw featured on those rewinds on there. If you want to see more of the action, please do make sure you look back, whether that is on Twitch TV, which is what we would suggest. It's MyWhoosh live on Twitch TV, or of course on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel as well. But this group, they're rolling along well at the moment, heading through the forest, and it's basically 6 kilometers of flat with one sprint coming up. But for those of you who are maybe new to the platform, although we have sprints and mountains, there are no prizes in terms of monetary prizes for them. It is simply for bragging rights. It's a great snapshot, a great window on the race for us to actually look at the data and see who's doing what.
Well, but also what we do have is points. We have points available, and cumulative points over the entire race will give us a Queen of the Mountains and a Queen of the Sprints.
Which is very important. Sorry, you just caught me with the coffee there.
I did.
I thought I will sneak this in whilst I was there. So if you're in and it's morning for you, morning. If it's afternoon, good afternoon. If it's good evening. And if it's the middle of the night, congratulations on being so dedicated, because that is really impressive. I'm definitely on the caffeine and sports drinks loaded, and being fueled up is important no matter what you're doing. And I'm sure the team behind the scenes at MyWhoosh are equally as fueled up and ready for this, because it's always interesting, isn't it, when we go to a new world, because there's different camera angles, and the production team are kept on their toes as well. And it's great to keep challenging our riders and the teams and see that development of the platform and everybody.
Can I just say the production team were indeed challenged in Belgium last week in the men's race, because their first foray into Belgium was so exciting across all 4 categories. I'm not sure where we needed or wanted to look. The women's race today, I can't wait to see what happens here. This Category 4 pack have come out of the pens. They have settled down very, very quickly at 1.4 kilometres into the racing.
Sum up Belgium racing last week in 3 words, Emma. I love doing this to Emma.
Furious, exciting.
I've got my 3. Oh, I've actually got 2, but I'll think of the third.
You've got to think of 3. You can't ask me for 3 and not give me 3.
So the first one is nervous.
Oh.
Because that summed up the start for me. It was very nervous. People were unsure of what was going on. I also think it was manic. And that's because there was so much coming through. Non-stop. Absolutely non-stop. So all 4 categories with these
No. You said
really,
3
really.
words.
So that's the second one. And the third word, is oh, we're coming to a sprint. You talk about the sprint, I'll think of the third word.
Oh, goodness me. He sets a challenge, and it is indeed a bit of a letdown, but it's not a letdown at the moment, because Sevilla Balello is absolutely putting the power down for this sprint. She wants to challenge those for those points on this sprint, and that was a big kick off the start. Now, nobody went with her, so I think she sat up, not quite sure as to what was going to take place behind. De Gracia now pushing on as well, so Gina De Gracia pushing on at the front of this pack. Now, it's not the first rider over the line for the sprints. It is the fastest sprint time. A little bit different to if you were road racing with a preem in real life.
It is indeed. So that's us through the first preem. We're going to head over to our second category of riders. It's category number 3 who are on the start line. And these are your teams. There are no teams. Really simple, because we're not into the finals yet in the women's event. We tend to see the teams coming in just for the finals. But we've got some great riders in here.
Yeah, we have indeed. 23 riders on the start sheets in Category 3, and it is really a who's who, you know. Gallego is here. McAlpine has been riding well this month. Lytton is here. Alzat, De Silva, Pelagio, Mabin, Hadlock, who's been on real form, Stefania Sanchez, and of course Kokkonen, who has come back to the Sunday Race Club. So away go the Category 3 women. This is qualifier race number 3. We are in Belgium for the very first time in this women's event, and Kokkonen is mid-pack there as they sweep out of the start pens and out onto the course now. The pace picking up nicely, straight up to over 30 kilometers per hour on this very flat start. Now, if you look to the right-hand top corner of your screen, you can see that pancake. Let me put my teeth back in.
That was really interesting.
That pancake flat course. Now, Belgian waffles, pancakes, there's some small relationship there, but that is indeed the gradient you can see, and the yellow line on the top right-hand corner is where the pack currently is placed on that profile. So a pancake flat start for these riders for around the first 6 kilometers.
It's good, isn't it? Nice start.
What, pancakes or waffles?
Both, actually, in fairness. Nervous start. Nervous start here. We're not absolutely going flat out. Everybody's anticipating waiting. Frantic is what we're going to get. Manic. Frantic.
Actually, do you know, this is really interesting.
But do you know what my third word is?
Go on then.
I've thought of it.
Have you? Careful.
Yeah. It didn't really take much thinking, I have to admit. Classic.
Oh.
Because it is. It's a classic. It was classic esports racing. It was absolutely about learning and knowing all the skills. It was knowing what the courses were like. It also was classic because, of course, we are in the home of the classics.
Yeah, I got that bit.
It's the whole package for me, and that's what we're going to see now.
Interestingly, how your 3 words also became a story. You just couldn't sit with 3 words without doing a definition and explanation.
Well, no.
No.
Oddly enough, people might have worked out by now who does like talk
all the talking. Anyway,
not quite.
Anyway, whilst they're not talking at the moment because Morelli has got the power down on the pedals at the moment. Now, this is really interesting because for me, I'm seeing the Category 3 race starting more hesitantly than the Category 4 race. They're moving closely, all as a pack on here. We've got 1 rider just off the back of the group, and you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, that is the Category 4 race field, and they are moving as a big group as well.
Hesitantly or wisely, because we have got some seriously steep climbs coming. Why would you go like an absolute loon from the word go if you knew that you have some really severe tests? And it's arguable that actually the hardest is the very first one, the Kortekeer climb.
Yeah, it is indeed. That really does top 17% towards the final first, I'm going to call it the final first step of the climb, because there is a climb, then there is a descent, and then there is a second part to that climb, and it is on the top slopes of the first part of the climb that we see it seriously kick.
It is really, really steep, and these replicate, as you would expect with MyWhoosh, the climbs out there that you would find if you were riding in the outside world rather than the indoors world.
Now, just want to say a quick mention about the jerseys, Matt, because we're in with the Category 4 red jersey wearers, but you can see a green skin suit in there. That is the Category 4 rider who has accumulated the highest number of points in the sprint competition. So we can see there Rona May Joy Mare. She is in that green skin suit. She has 5 points in that sprint competition for going through that first sprint the fastest.
So she's got the most points so far, which means she's wearing that, and that will change, of course, as we move through. So Category 4 at the moment, making the way down, 4.8k underneath their wheels, 2.1 for the riders in Category 3. And as you can see, they're about to come to the end of that 300-meter sprint segment. That will give us the time. In the meantime, though, we need to keep an eye on both categories too. and Category 1. Category 2, the next riders are due to go. Category 2, always a fast and competitive race field. And again, plenty of stars in here, Emma.
Yeah, there are. Now, 19 riders on the start sheet today. This is our smallest category today. But saying that, we've got some absolute domination going on at the moment in this category. Embring, Hermansen, Walkenhurst. You know, Embring and Hermansen have been on such phenomenal form recently. But Montoya and Ruiz also in here. And Tanya Howeller came up from category 3 last week.
So let's see who is going to take this out. It is time for Category 2 riders to go. And away from the pen, underneath the UCI arch, you see our riders in those green jerseys of Category 2 making the way. The pack starting to form very quickly. And all the riders off from the start cleanly. Now's the time to measure that effort. Make sure you're in the hunt, in the running, but not expending too much energy given what we've got in store.
Well, what have we got in store today? Because I think we are going to have some really exciting racing across all 4 of these categories. That's what we've got in store for you. No pressure, riders, if you're listening, but let's make this a great one.
It's going to be an absolute cracker, and that was possibly going to be my third word. I have to admit.
That would have been a good word.
No, it's classic. It's classic because classics have crackers as well. I think for me, really interesting to watch the differences. We noticed that Category 4 had gone through the sprint before we flipped across for the next category. Category 3 hadn't gone through the sprint, and we hadn't got the result before we got through. And it's really interesting to see the difference in timing to come basically the same distance. But Category 4 are on the way. They're hitting the climb, and we can get some intermediate results. Emma's busy on the screen.
We can indeed, because we did say Category 3 looked as though they'd had a much steadier start than Category 4. And our first sprint is telling us that story as well, because Category 4 going through that first 300-metre section much faster than Category 3.
Now, onto the slopes to come. We'll try and give you some updates on the times when and where we can on the course for the times. Remember, of course, we will get a quick indication of that, but this group at the moment is stretching, compressing. We're seeing 1 or 2 riders getting distanced as we run into this climb, but these are the lower slopes of the Cortakia. Now, it rises up. You can see the profile on the top right-hand side. That is the initial part of the climb. That is part 1. Part 2, well, that is just as steep in lots of ways, and it is not distanced by much from part 1 and part 2. It's almost like the very top of the Wollongong climb, where you have the sort of the steep section up, and then you have that little tiny bit of a kicker afterwards. It's a bit like this here, but the second part is definitely a leg sapper. Now, for those people who are new, if you're looking on your screens, you'll see on the center top the rider data. Right hand side is the field, the race field, and the people around. So the distances in terms of time, 1 second, 2 second, where they are on the course, how many kilometers they've covered, and the watts per kilo. Left hand side is your satellite view, and as you can see, it is all starting to stretch out. And that is because of the pressure being applied on the front. And De Gracia, Gentili, Smithson, Bello, Idzik, Vink starting to become a familiar roll call.
Well, and what is really interesting is the 2 races we've had so far in September, 9 different riders have finished in the top 5. Vink is the only rider to finish in the top 5 on both races in Category 4.
And we could potentially see new people today with that change in terrain as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so these riders riding well in Category 4, nicely on the climb. Category 2, still on the run in through the flatlands. They're about to hit that sprint segment. And this is where we're going to start to see where the starts are heading. I think this is a very steady start indeed.
Very steady. I was going to call it hesitant start, but it's a steady start. I think these riders are all looking at each other. They know how each other perform when there is a long climb at the end. This month we've been to Colombia for the Paso Alto. We've been to Arabia for the Jebel Yais. You know, 2 very sort of similar courses with big long climbs at the finish. This is so different. I think they're just looking at each other because they just don't know who's going to do what.
And no matter how many times you wreck your course, you practice the climbs, you've got that added mix. This is why we
Yeah.
love the racing, because there are other people who are going to change that up, and that is definitely true of Category 1, our final category to take to the start line here on the women's qualifier number 3 for September. Our final qualifier, our final chance. And again, some absolutely cracking riders in here. Have we got all the favourites here, Emma?
Well, Catherine Furrer has been dominant this month. Bjarhead has been riding really well. Columbi, who joined us last week, had a great race. Engstrom is here. Nikki Lloyd took the sprint win last week. Koinsten is here. But my call for today, you've got to keep your eyes on Jenny Sanchez, because she's got some real power.
Let's see who's going to be there.
Yeah, let's do that indeed. So the countdown continues. Category 1 are away on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. This is the final qualifier for September, and Category 1 are up and out of the pen. So cleanly out of the pen and onto the course. We can see the pack moving. The pack is moving well, very, very quickly up to speed, up to 36 kilometers per hour, very, very quickly. There's some real pulling going on at the front of this pack, but the rest of the pack are trying to sit in and take the tow on this very long, flat start.
Another good start. Interesting. I was just watching the different riders and the way they're moving out. Very often we see this as a line. It's a long, thin line, Emma. We're seeing a bit of a pack. One or two riders maybe just starting a little bit slower than we would expect. But when you were running through the list of riders, one name didn't pop out there. One rider for whim I would have put a serious number of ice creams
Quevedo.
on.
She's not here today.
Indeed not. I think she's on holiday at the moment.
Well, wherever she is, she's missing an absolute treat.
It would suit her.
This would have been
surely.
So Quevedo's ability to kick, the top end power that she has, is absolutely phenomenal. Now, a skater by background, and then a world record, a world champion skater by background.
Multiple times as
well.
Big sprint.
But the power that she has and her ability to transfer that power to a sprint in cycling, absolutely phenomenal. You're quite right, Matt. This could well have been a course for her, but she isn't here today. But she will get another opportunity. I am very, very sure we will go to Belgium again.
I'm sure, without a doubt, it is an absolutely cracking one, and it did live up to expectations in terms of the racing, in terms of how we saw the race progressing, and we will see that again here today. Now, we are watching Category 1. We've got 4 categories out on the road. All of our categories are out and racing, making sure that they are in the hunt for the top positions here, and as you can see, at different stages now, we are currently at what is 7.8 kilometers, so that is over the first part of the climb on the Cortakia with the leaders in Category 4. They've hit the lower slope, heading back down. They're going to kick once again.
Yeah, so 6 riders currently in this front group. There's 2 riders not far off. I think Ramirez and De Gracia are going to join this group, and we're going to see this be a group of 8 leading this Category 4 race. Now, the rest of the chasers are not that far behind, but can they make the back of this group before it goes up again?
I'm not sure they can. I don't think they can, and if they do, they were distanced for a reason, and that is always what worries me. If I'm racing, I get distanced on the first part of the climb. I know second part, odds are, unless something miraculous happens, I'm going to have a really hard time.
Well, the riders that I would expect to be there in that Category 4 race have made the selection to that front group of 8. This is a look back now on the Category 3 race field. They are on the Cortakia, and they are very, very shortly about to collect onto the steepest section.
They are indeed now. Let's see. We've got Category 3 and Category 1 nicely moving. You can actually see Category 3, I think, are about to start catching Category 4.
Well, they are.
Very shortly indeed. Meanwhile, Category 1 on the way in to the Ghent City Sprint.
They're onto the Ghent City Sprint, and you can see on that bottom left-hand corner of your screen the Category 1 race field already in 3 discrete groups on the road. So this is the front group in the Category 1 race. It is a group of riders moving through the sprint segment, but that, Matt, is not a sprint.
It's not. It's not. That's not a sprint. That's a roll through. But that is not surprising, is it? But on the basis of what we've got, a little bit of a kick though.
It was a little bit of a kick from Nikki
no.
Lloyd there, because she just wanted to move from within that group to the front of that group. Now, she took the overall points in the sprint competition last week across all 4 categories. Now, will she do that again today, or will that go to one of our earlier categories? Now, for 5 points, it is Ronamay Joy Mir, the category 4 rider, who's going to pick up maximum points on that sprint. Just one more sprint to go. So category 4 riders, 1, 2, 3. Then category 2 in the mix with the rest of the category 4 pack. But a 30-second effort from Ronamay Joy Mir taking that sprint segment today.
So really interesting how this is playing out. And this is what we mean by it being a snapshot, isn't it, really?
Now, Nikki Lloyd, the category 1 rider we saw put that small dig in towards the end of that, took her into 11th place overall, which tells you, I was going to say how fast this category 1 pack are moving, but actually it tells you how slow this category 1 pack are moving. And that, Matt, for me, is all about tactics in this race.
It is. It is, and I think that it's about positioning as well. Isn't it? You've got to be in the right position at the right time, or you're going to be in trouble.
Well, talking about being in the right position at the right time, Emily Mabbin is in the right position at the moment, because she is at the front of this category 3 race field. She's used the steeper sections of this climb to put an attack in, and she's now 10 seconds clear of the chasing group. It's quite a large chasing group, but Mabbin putting in a phenomenal effort on the slopes of the Cortakia to go clear of that category 3 race field. Do you know, she's got Jose Zabala, McAlpine, Kokkonen in the group behind, but she's still stretching that lead as she comes right to the top of the first segment of this Cortakia climb. She's going to drop down into the valley before she goes up the second part of this climb, but she's now well and truly coming onto the back of the category 4 riders. That category 3 race field. Now, viewers, that bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you can see this climb there very, very clearly. You can see the red jerseys of the category 4 riders, the back markers in that race field, with the blue jerseys of the category 3 race field. That is Mabbin, the lone blue rider out front, followed by a large pack of riders. So McAlpine, Kokkonen are the riders leading the charge. Castano is there as well as Jose Zabala. Arrayas is not far off. And then there's a little bit of a gap back to Sanchez. Well, this is really split up now.
It has indeed split up, and that is the way this climb and the profile of these climbs work. It works whether you're watching a classic, whether you're watching some of the races out in the world out there in the outdoors, or whether you are watching it on the world of MyWhoosh on esports. This type of climb, this kick, this rest, kick, rest, kick, rest, it really does break the groups up, and that's partly because of how these riders are going to respond. Now we can see category 2 starting to split. We're seeing 1 or 2 riders being distanced off the back right hand side of your screen. You see those chevrons in red and in gold going across. That's an indication of just how deep these riders are digging to give themselves the chance to stay in with this group, but the pressure is on here. And I think as much as people don't want to be distanced, as anybody particularly pushing at the front, nobody wants to be at the back.
Well, I agree with that, and I think this category 2 race is going to be a really interesting one to watch, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the steeper part of this climb in a very short while, because will Embring, Hermansen and Walkenhurst be able to dominate on a course like this? Or will some of the other riders in this category 2 race field really be able to mix it up?
It's going to be really interesting to see. And remember, of course, all of these riders fighting for the overall positions, the finish line, their position at that finish line, absolutely critical in terms of prizes. And as you can see, category 1 is to make their way back through, get round through the side of the city defences. They're going to be heading back out again as they go round past one of the many canals that line the city. You can see the climb coming top right hand side. But speaking of prize money, I tell you what, let's head across and have a look at just what these riders are fighting for. Now, the prize money is per category, so categories 4, 3, 2, and 1 have prize money in ascending values. And it's for the top 5 individuals in all of our qualifiers. So qualifier 1, 2, 3, and if it's a 5-weekend month, it will also be a 4th qualifier. Now, this is a 4-weekend month, so it means that we have 3 qualifiers. This is qualifier number 3. First place today for our category 4 rider, that would be 2,160 AED first place, and a 5th place of 432 AED. Put my teeth back in there.
That's always helpful.
Use an Emma phrase.
Yeah.
So, qualifiers in category 4, good prize money. Slightly better prize money when you move up into category 3, because of course you're moving up through the competition categories. It is 3,600 AED to 720 for the individuals in category 3. In category 2, steps up yet again. So up to 6,000 for first, 4,800 for second, 3,600 for third, 2,400 for fourth, and 1,200 AED for fifth places. Prices that are substantial. And as you can see, it's definitely worth being in a team for our monthly finals, because there's some serious money. Now, let's talk about the individual prizes first of all. 10,000 AED for our category 1 winner today. That is a huge amount of money in anybody's currency, no matter where you are in the world. Running right down to 2,000 AED for fifth. And the team competition next week, get in a team. Talk to your mate. If you haven't got them, make them fast.
Yeah,
get some teammates quick, because we want to see teams in all of the categories, and of course sweeping up that prize money. That's the whole point of MyWhoosh offering the prize money. They want this to be a sustainable and viable option for people to concentrate on, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing some great riders in there. Emma, 10,000 AED is a substantial sum.
It is.
Do you know what you'd do if you won at 10,000 AED?
Well, I'd have to be fit enough to race and compete with the category 1 women.
Yeah,
to
apart
start
from that
with,
little thing, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but I was just taking a little look at the exchange rates, because I was thinking, oh, you know, Catherine Furr has won the last 2 qualifiers. She's not in the race today, but riding actually at the Worlds for Switzerland, so I went for Swiss francs today. But while Furr won't be winning 10,000 AED, which is 2,443 Swiss francs, somebody else in category 1 will be.
And it's how many Swiss francs?
2,443.
You could pay a lot of UCI fines with that, because they're also issued in
Swiss francs.
Swiss francs.
Hopefully, though, none of our riders will be being laden with a UCI fine today on esports.
No, not going to happen today. Might happen
Does
in the
your
future.
avatar socks? Are your avatar socks too long?
You don't need to reference the fact I got disqualified for that. I've got a different currency for you.
Go on then.
Just because we saw Emily Mabin absolutely flying and looking like she's progressing. Now, if she made it to category 1, Emily Mabin is from New Zealand. In New Zealand dollars, the top prize in category 1, 10,000 AED, equates to 4,613.74 New Zealand dollars.
Well, that is an interesting one. Now, category 2, I did question whether we would see Hermansen and Embring able to bring their A game to Belgium, and they are. Now, Mabin here in category 3, continuing with that lead. So Hermansen and Embring here now pushing on, 5 seconds clear of Montoya. Takanis, who's also been riding really strongly this month, with Daniel also in there as well. Now that chasing group behind, 1, 2, 3 riders in that chasing group, all have podiumed this month. So I think this is going to become a group of 5 riders at the front of this. And actually taking a look there, It is indeed Kong who is going to be missing out unless she can really put a push in. Now, Lam Kong from Hong Kong has indeed joined us this month on the Sunday Race Club and has been putting in some really strong performances. And take a look at that. I think she's going to make this a group of 6.
It's worth it. If this feels like your race finish, this is now the time to push. You've got to squeeze. Keep with the riders. Once they go over the top, that is such a class group. It could distance the rest of the race field, no matter what they do when they come in and through, because this is all about getting in with the right people at the right time. Now, Mina Koistonen is doing exactly the same here. She's on the front. She's leading up here, and that is the other way of doing it. Instead of chasing from behind, set the pace. Choose when you go hard. And looking at where this Group 1 leading group are at the moment, they are absolutely flying. Has it got the strength in depth? I think today, given the number of riders who have already qualified for the finals and who are not with us, choosing to use this as a rest week, we have the opportunity for a very different top 5.
Well, 6 riders currently in that leading group in Category 1. And take a look at the bottom and left-hand corner of your screen, because they are all over the road. This Category 1 pack of attacks on this climb, the gradient currently at 13.5%. This is a steep, steep corner they are currently going around. 5 riders, 1 rider just slightly off the back, and I'm just taking a look as to see who that is. I think that might be Manishandi. Engstrom just a couple of seconds back. She's going to need to push. She's going to need to dig. She's joining back onto the group. Colombi is the rider a little bit further back, and my call for this, Jenny Sanchez, well, she's 10 seconds behind at the moment.
Yeah, it's so tight.
I got that wrong today.
Yeah, so I mean, I have to say, I think this course, because of the flat start, that sudden change in terrain is it's not instantaneous, but it feels like it. 1 minute you're riding along the flat, and then the next minute it's like the cobbles have slammed you in the face because they're just right. It's like a wall in front.
Well, Coinston, the current rider pushing on in Category 1, she's not just used to a change of pace, she's used to a change of discipline, because she is a triathlete. So she's used from swimming to bike to run. Well, I think she can cope with a hill and a flat.
Not always the case.
Well,
not always the case. We will see. She's riding really well, though. Really strong. Great to see.
Absolutely brilliant.
Really nice to see so many different riders. Now, just diving back in with Category 3 at the moment here, Emma.
They are about to catch Mabin.
They are, sort of, because the rider that's coming back towards them is Mabin, just coming back in the green skin suit there. So don't be fooled that that's a rider in Category 2 who's already gone through it. It's not. It's a green skin suit rather than a green jersey coming back. And that means that Mabin has been pulled back at the moment just before we come into the descent. I'm not sure whether that's a pull back as much as Mabin going, do you know what? That's a big group behind.
Yep.
I'm just going to wait. I'm going to be smart here because we've still got a long way to go. Currently having covered 13.3k of 35 kilometers. So we're not yet at half race distance. That's a long way to go solo over the terrain we've got, particularly that when we reach this stage. I mean, remember, the 13.3k, we are still only over 1 of 4 of our bergs today. Over that, we've still got the Valkenberg, we've still got the Eichenberg from one side of it, followed by the Eichenberg climb as well. So that's 3 more substantial climbs to come. That is going to be testing, and I think that's a smart move by Mabin. Being in a group is key. Being in a group here is also key. Just taking a little bit of a look, Colombi is still chasing here. So Celine Colombi from Italy needs to move. Engstrom at the moment is just at the back here, and Colombi needs to push. She's got to keep on going here. She can't afford to let that group go. And I think as this group slows, as they come onto the next part of the climb, you can see it ramping up towards the left as we go up and past the cathedral out on the right-hand side here. Now, the distance will come down, but Colombi was distanced on a climb. Can she make this one count? She knows she's just got to get over the top of this part of the Cortekia, and that will be decisive. 9.2k covered at the moment. The top of the Cortekia comes at 9.9k. 700 meters doesn't sound much, but this is Tough stuff today.
This is the longest climb on the course today. The rest of the climbs, well, the longest climb, which is going to be the last one at 1.6 kilometers. So this is absolutely essential. Colombian Engstrom now need to treat this as the finish line because they really cannot let that group go.
And when you get over the top here, there is a little bit of a chance to regroup. You go over the top very quickly, but you do have the opportunity to go through. Really interesting to see Jenny Tan there, just coming backwards. Did you see that?
I did,
Jenny
indeed.
Tan at 1.6 watts per kilo. I think Jenny just having a ride through. Could be she's got an issue with the bike. Could be she's not feeling great. Jenny, if you're not feeling good, don't forget, finals the next week. Not this week. If you've done enough to qualify, maybe the time just to roll around, or maybe even jump off, do some rest, do something alternative, just regroup and ready, because the finals course next week are gonna be, as always, incredibly dynamic, incredibly tactical, lots of subtleties in there, proper chess on wheels.
Well, taking a look at this, Bayar head is towards the front of this pack. So is Manshandi. Now, those two really strong riders with Koinstinen as well. So these three riders towards the top here, just pushing on. This is the final section of this climb now. They've got a small gap to Erefek. Colombi is there. She's made that juncture. Gonzalez now distance. Engstrom now distance. Tan now distance. This is becoming a small group very early on in this race, Matt.
Yeah, and I would expect to see this come back together a little bit here. I don't think this is the... If it was me, I wouldn't keep pushing. I know that sounds really crazy, but I wouldn't keep pushing. I just think that is a crazy tactic, given the distance still to go, given the terrain still to go, given the flat run to the finish. I think regroup after the Corte after a little bit of a kick there. You can see our 7 leading riders in Category 1 on your screen. Koistonen with the fastest time up there, up the Corte. You can test yourself against that. Don't forget, you can come out and ride. 808.667 is the time to be. If you can do that, why aren't you with us here on Sunday Race Club?
Well, absolutely. And if you do want to join us on the Sunday Race Club, the start of the month is probably the best time to join. Now, next week is the final. You have to have qualified and got 2 verified rides to compete in the final. So the week after will be the first qualifier of October. If you are wanting to join us, please do. All 4 race categories. Absolutely looking for new riders. Head over to MyWhoosh.com, head over to the events page, and you will find a section on the Sunday Race Club. Click on that and you will find all the information you need. You'll find the technical guide, you'll find the rule set, you'll find all the information about the verification process that you need to go through. Take a read, take a look. Come and join us on the Sunday Race Club. You can be here riding Belgium, competing against the category that fits your profile most appropriately. And that's what I love about this, Matt. You've got the 4 race categories and you've got really great racing in each one because we match the abilities.
We do. And I think for me, that's one of the key things here is that if you're thinking about joining, now's the optimum time to jump on, to download the program, to get it set up, to get Pain case set up. Make sure you've got the ways of recording the data. It's 2 data sources, so a power crank, for example, and your smart trainer, a smart bike, and power pedal. However you want to set it up, you've got 2 weeks to get that absolutely dialed before the qualifiers, and of course you've got time to ride plenty of courses, plenty of terrain, and get the feel of how it rides. Because a bit like changing from cyclocross to mountain bike, that transition or to gravel, it's not always a smooth transition from one discipline to another. It's exactly the same when you go from maybe riding a road bike outdoors to riding indoors. It is not the same thing. It does take some time to do that. So now is the time to do it. Get on, get riding, get some data in there, get into the category for your qualifying, and then remember, you can kick off with the qualifier number 1. And in the meantime, you never know, you might be watching the show whilst you're riding as well, get some inspiration, hopefully.
Yeah, completely and utterly. And on the right-hand side of your screen, you've got our Category 4 race underway. Coming up for 19 kilometres of this race. They were our first category to start. 5 minutes behind them, Category 3 was the second wave of starters. They're at 17.2 kilometres into this race, and you can see a mix there. They've already picked up some of the red jersey Category 4 riders. Those are the back markers. They've jumped in with this Category 3 pack and are taking a tow on the flatlands at the moment. But Category 4, they are already up and on to the next climb.
Great to see the action unfolding in front of us. Great to see our riders out there. Now, whilst the riders make their way into the next sprint, and this is the windmill sprint, if I remember correctly. I think it's the Thyssen-Hoven-Molen. A Hoven-Molen is a windmill, basically, a Thyssen-Hoven-Molen. It is a particular windmill, actually, in Belgium. It has amazing, it's a wooden structure on a pivot. So the whole, instead of just the top bit turning around to face the wind, like a current wind turbine does, the whole thing moves. The whole tower and everything.
So if you live in
amazing.
that windmill, does it mean that you can angle the window of your bedroom to 4 different sides?
Depending on where it, well, yeah, possibly, or it could just be that whatever you want to do, there's always a headwind if you position your turbo trainer in your pain cave in the windmill, facing the windmill blades.
You mean
if you're doing that, I would love to say, please listen. If anybody has a turbo trainer set up in a windmill, I want to see it. I'll come and visit you. I promise you. I'm going to come and see wherever it is. Right, Cecilia Garcia leading through a mix of colours there. Emily Mabin in third, Dana Degamashani in second, Cecilia Garcia in first. 3 different categories there.
Yeah, they are indeed. And what that tells me is that each of the categories going through this sprint segment, well, they were focusing on the race at hand, not at putting down a fast sprint time. So Garcia from category 2 will indeed take 5 points, Manshandi 4, Mabin 3, Columbi 2, and Gonzalez from category 2 will take 1 point in the overall sprint competition. That will be added to the points from the Ghent City sprint earlier on to give us the ultimate point scoring sprint winner in this race today, because there are just 2 sprints, but there aren't 2 climbs. There are 4 of them.
There are. It really does sum it up, doesn't it? It really sums up this race route. Now, category 4 are on the move. We are seeing a pattern developing. It's small, bijou, compact groups heading up. Have they got it right, Emma? How many riders are we looking at in this group here? I think that's what, half a dozen?
Well, it is 5 riders in this leading group. De Gracia is the rider who's been distanced on this climb. She's just 4 seconds back. She's just off that climb, and you know what? She's putting a big kick in at the moment. So Gina De Gracia, look at her.
Come on,
We've
Gina.
got the flat top of this Valkenburg climb, and Gina De Gracia, she's been distanced on the upslope, but on the flat top slope across this reservoir, she is pushing on and she is kicking hard to make that a leading group of 6.
It needs to make this. This really is important, because that pack, because of the draft, will descend fast. They will descend very, very quickly indeed. Really important to make the junction. She's going to do that last little push to get on board. Now, speaking of small, compact bijou groups, this is category 2. They are on their way in, 17.3k covered, which means that they are fast approaching the base of the Valkenburg climb. The Valkenburg climb is a historic climb. It's one of our amazing climbs on the race. It is a part of the Flanders race. It is a real tough beastie. Emma, how many riders have we got in here?
Well, I am doing a quick look at the moment. I think that is 5, maybe 6 category 2 riders in that group at the moment. I was just looking for Hermansen and I found her. So Montoya is here, Tokanis is here, Embring is here, Daniel is here. Lam Kong has made the juncture onto the group, so that's fantastic to see. So looking here now, we've got a great group of what looks like 6 category 2 riders, and mixed in there are a couple of category 3 riders as well, taking the toe. The question is, well, I was going to say the question is, will the category 3 riders stay with the category 2 riders on the Valkenburg climb? But I think we know the answer to that already.
Yeah. Let's not go there, shall we? Because it is so hard. That is one of the key things, isn't it? If you're new to esports racing or riding, the key thing is when you're on the descent, just like you find outdoors, on a descent on a flat section, because of the energy saving that you can get drafting somebody, particularly when the speed's really high, you can stay with people. However, and it is a massive, massive, massive however, when you're on the climb, It is a power to weight that counts on that climb. That is really, really important. Now we're looking at Novelin Kekkonen at the moment in category 3. Really has just pushed nicely over the top of the climb there at 19.6k done. So that's the Valkenburg ticked off. 50% of the climbs done and dusted of our 4 category climbs. And this means we're going to see this group come together. So we have our green jersey rider in there, our green skin suit, that is Mabin. We've got our polka dot skin suit in Kekkonen. Now, the terrain that's coming up for them, Emma, we're halfway through our climbs here for category 3, but the last 2, not only are they tough, they're very close together, aren't they?
Yeah, they are indeed. So the last 2 climbs come thick and fast together. Literally, you go up and over the first climb, you drop straight down, and you go straight up and into the second. Now, let's take a look at that, shall we? So our profile of the course coming up for you. You can see there at 24.2 kilometers, the Eichenberg Hill coming up there. That is 1.4 kilometers in length with an average gradient of 4.3%. We drop down the other side and then we immediately transition into the next climb that takes us 1.6 kilometers skywards, slightly steeper gradient with an average of 4.7, but you can see the profile is quite different. You see a really steeper kick in the first one and a more gentle run in the second. Then take a look at the rest of that race, Matt. 6 kilometers downhill and flat to the checkered flag.
It is. It's that roller coaster, isn't it? We've got this sort of flat section running, but then it's 1.4k up, immediately 1.8k down, then it's 1.6k up. I make it 1.1k down by my calculations, down to the end of the descent, and then it's that flat running. So we've got this sort of roller coaster. Then you've got to carry that momentum through. This is critical. If you are a climber or a ruler, a punchy rider, surely this is where you're going to make it count, not leave it to the sprint.
Well, I agree, and you really have to think about how tactically you're going to do this, because that second climb, look how steep that descent is. You could really make some distance on that final descent, but you've got to bank on the fact that if you are a lone rider, you are not going to get caught by a chasing group. So if you're going to put in some distance, you need to put in enough distance not to be caught on the flatland. Now, taking a look at our riders, category 4 leading group, 23.5 kilometers coming up under their wheels. Category 1, 17.2. They are some way behind. Now, they did start 15 minutes behind our category 4 riders. Category 3, we've still got a good sized bunch at the moment in category 3. We looked at last count, 8 riders in there. We may have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think there's still 8 riders in there. Category 2, they are now up and over the Valkenburg. They are now on that bridge over the top of the reservoir on the top of the climb.
This is proving to be a real interesting race. The selections being made time and time again on the climbs, on that push over the top. It really does pay to ride the course. Now, time is ticking away. We're at 23.7, so 500 meters to the Eichenberg Hill. Going to be really critical here. And you can see De Grazia has been distanced on that climb, gone off the back. It really is telling.
Yeah.
She fought so hard to stay in there. I mean, absolutely, top prize there to Gina. However, not going to be in the selection. If you get dropped, you get dropped for a reason. It is usually the case. But that doesn't mean it's not worth trying, because that's how you improve. That's how you're going to get better time and time again. Really, really well done, though, Gina, for hanging in there so long.
Yeah, well, the riders left in that group: Bello, Gentili, Vink, Smithson and Idzik. Now, all really strong riders. So that category 4 race shaping up nicely. They've got just over 10 kilometers to go, and they are just now coming in to the first of the last 2 climbs. So whilst category 4 are about to see it go skywards on the Eichenberg Hill, on the Valkenburg, that is the category 1 race field, and they are just about to see their wheels go up. Now, this already is a small select group. So it looks like Gonzalez, Ruhr and Engström have been distanced now. So Ervek, Bjarhed, Manshandi, Koinstenen and Columbi, that It's 5 riders now.
There's 5 riders I wouldn't want to take on any of these climbs in any way, shape, or form. They'd be waiting for with more than a coffee at the top. I think they'd have a 3-course meal waiting for me to try and just get one of these. They're absolutely flying and putting in a fantastic performance. Interesting to see Fiona Schroeder just being distanced by him, just being caught and passed. Good to see Fiona Schroeder, one of our regular riders in the racing. But Emma, what have you seen on your screens there? There was an ooh.
Yeah, there was indeed, because Koistinen is in this group as well, but Schroeder, Category 2 rider, just being distanced by that. Little surprise, Martina Erhek, 13 seconds back now, so she has not gone with this leading group on this climb.
So Erhek now going to be a target for Fiona Schroeder. Schroeder, one of our regular riders, somebody who's been a racer, I think as long as I've been talking about the racing, and that is a long time indeed. Great to see her in and racing. She's going to be trying to be right in the hunt. However, she's got some tough competition, and in Category 2, Anna Embring is again showing why she's a force to be reckoned with. You can see that her countrywoman Lisa Hermansen is in the mix as well. We've got Smithers in here from Australia. We've also got Konas in and Montoya from Colombia. Going to be a really interesting final, this. I'd love speculated in my I don't know about you, Emma, but when I'm watching this, I'm thinking, when we get to qualifier number 3, right, who's going to be in which team come the finals? Who's going to be with who? Who's going to be, and if it was me, who would I want in my team? Because you want to get the right dynamics right. I mean, come on, you don't want 3 Jumbo-Visma riders, GC leaders in the same team.
Well, I didn't think we were going to go there today, but we already have.
Don't you worry.
So Koistinen is the rider pushing on at the moment. Bjarhed in 2, Manshandi in 3. Colombia just being distanced slightly at the moment in 4. So very, very quickly towards the top of this climb. The Valkenburg has split this Category 1 race field. We are down to 4 riders.
4 riders. Long way to go. The top of this climb at 19.6k. It's not even half. So it's just over half race distance because, of course, we've got 35k in total. However, 4 riders through. Koistinen, Bjarhed, Manshandi, Colombia. We are going to see a very different top 5, and it's going to add to the stats that Emma will be bringing us at the start of the finals, which is next week. So I'm sure Emma will be reporting on even more riders having taken prizes in Category 1 than normal, and that is part of what we see, the development, and it is part of the evolution that happens every month, isn't it, on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We see these riders coming through, we see people qualifying, maybe taking a rest. We've got different people at different parts of the season. This, for anybody in the Northern Hemisphere, is coming towards the end of the summer and into the winter season, but that's almost the opposite if you're in the Southern Hemisphere.
It is indeed, and we also see riders progressing through categories. So we mentioned earlier on Tanya Howeller. She moved up last week from Category 3 to Category 2. Instantly, that changes the dynamic in both Category 3 and Category 2, because the Category 2 riders and Howeller won't know how she's going to perform in that. And will that change the dynamics? Is she going to race hard for the first half of the race to try and stay with and make the action in the Category 2 race and see how long she can stay in there? And the Category 3 riders will start looking at each other thinking, well, who's going to take this out? Howeller might have won the last 2 weeks. So who's going to take it out? Let's be a little bit more conservative. Let's see who makes the action. Let's see who makes the play. So the dynamics change as well as riders progress through the categories.
And you have that thing, don't you? I mean, you alluded to it there. Once you are the favourite, the established rider, the rider who has got that, got the current form, shown their colours almost, it then makes you a target. It means that other people are going to try and make you work really hard. That's so going to be interesting to see in Category 3. Category 4, though, wow, great riding in Category 4. And again, lots of very familiar names, but no one rider dominating yet.
No one rider dominating yet. And one of the other things a favourite does, I think, for this is, also makes people think, well, they're going to win, so what's the point in trying?
I never think
Really,
that.
I'm racing for second.
Never think
well,
that. Ever,
I know,
ever,
but mentally people do, and we know that it is as much a mental game on the race platform as it is a physical game. But Gentelli is not letting Ella Vink have it her own way. Idzik is here as well. So is Smithson and Bello. You know, these 5 riders are all still in the mix in this Category 4 race at the moment, and they are at 26.6 kilometers. You can see on the top right-hand profile, they are on the descent, and it will quickly transition into the final climb of the day.
So here we go on that way down. A quick reminder, 1.4k up, 1.8k down, 1.6k up, 1.1k down. Then it's just 6k to the finish, which are going to be blisteringly quick and really tactical. And of course, give the opportunity, if the group hesitate, if there's too much finesse in the tactics, for a distanced rider who's been dropped on the final 2 climbs to get back on. So still, to use a very hackneyed and cliched phrase, all to play for.
Yeah, well, it is all to play for. And are we going to see a lone breakaway on this climb and then a time trial effort to the finish? Or are we going to see a group come in and it be a sprint, all but a smaller group than the number on the start line? Now, on Category 4, we can see it's Smithson here. She's just been distanced, you know. She's not quite made the transition to this final climb, but Smithson is the rider distance here. It's just a few seconds at the moment, but that group of 5, now a group of 4. This is the Category 2 race.
And yeah, the Category 2 are absolutely flying. Let's watch them as they ascend this climb. So just watching these riders on that ascent there, Emma almost speechless by the speed of the ascent. It's nothing to do with, we talk about fueling. I'm going to pick on Emma a little bit here. Now, the action's intense. Emma there, you breathed and took some onboard refueling simultaneously. It went wrong. That happens racing, doesn't it? I mean, we've both done this racing. I've done it on the mic before, though. It's something that can happen. When that happens, how do you recover from that on the bike? Because you're on a critical part here. I mean, we saw their Smithson distance, and it could just be she might have the legs, she might have the energy, she might be full of racing, full of vigor, full of oomph, full of vavavoom, but then one little mistake of just, squeeze the bottle at the wrong time, and then that can happen. How do you recover?
Well, anything can happen racing, You can drop a bottle when you go to refuel. You could try to open a gel on the bike and drop that, and then all of a sudden your mind is on the fact that, oh my God, I've missed my refueling. What am I going to do? You really have to think about what you're doing and to recover from it. Now we drop back into this Category 1 race field. We've got 3 riders left.
We have got 3 riders left who make their way here as the leaders of the race in Category 1. What a... sorry, 4... Is that 3? 4. 4 riders. I'm going to do a slight recalculation. It is 4 riders, and that is because we've got Madonna Degamashandi in the green skin suit. We've got Coiston in the polka dot skin suit, and then we've got 2 riders in the yellow. Only mildly confusing for those of us who it is in the morning and haven't had enough coffee. That is, you knew that was coming, didn't you? You knew I was going to mention coffee at the same moment as I could do the counting. It's always the case. Right. 42 minutes on the clock. You can see that at the top of your screens at the moment. We can see that Mina Coiston and heart rate 153, nice pedal cadence, 91 revs per minute. And that cadence, the responsiveness, the smoothness, really, really key to saving energy. 23.7k covered. We are fast approaching this critical part of the course, which is the final climb. That is the Eichenberg. If you want to have a look, go onto a search engine, have a look at the Eichenberg, watch back some of the classic footage over the years. Now, Category 3 motoring here, absolutely flying. They're 27.4k. This is the start, and you can see they've just gone through the banner there of the Eichenberg climb. This is going to be critical for them. Are we going to see it move? This is relatively, for all the racing that we've seen, the biggest group, the biggest leading group, isn't it?
It is indeed. This is the Category 3 group. It is the largest group still on the road. And just a moment, the Eichenberg climb, the Oak Tree Hill.
Is that what it means?
It is indeed.
I
And
like
you can
it
see
even
there
more
beautifully
now.
all the oak trees alongside of the road. So just a small moment of deviation there. So Category 3, absolutely on the second part of this climb now. They are motoring up the hill. So Kokkonen is here, Jose Zabala, Castano, Stefiana Sanchez and McAlpine all in here. Arrayas is in here too. You know, this is a big group of Category 3 riders.
So Category 3 on the left, right hand side is Category 4. Elevink putting the pressure on here as they go over the top here. She's wanted to do some damage to the leg. She's wanted to split the group. Bello and Idzik are of the same mind. They've got Gentili currently being at distance for a few seconds. We know that Smithson is further back, nearly at 1 minute. But I think this group of 3 leaders are wanting to split another rider off the back of the group and distance them. So 3 leaders in Category 4. Bottom right hand side of your screen there, you can see left hand side of your screen, they're the leaders in Category 2. And again, we've got 3 leaders in that leading group. It's not far back to Montoya, to Daniel, etc. But at the moment, Embring Hermansen, they're the riders, and now it becomes 5. So we're now at 5. I think it's going to be even bigger. 6. It's going to be 7 riders very shortly indeed, I think. Let's see who is able to get back, who is not able to get back to that group. It's an ever-evolving picture. Riders trying to break this and trying to open this up. And this, guess where we are? Yeah, we're on the Eichenberg. This final climb should be decisive. It's got to be now. There's no more dress rehearsals if you're a climber. There are no more chances. This is it. Make it count, because you're going to need to get a gap, because we've got 6K to the finish from the top of this climb.
Well, I think you're going to see all the riders in this group in Category 2 dig in now. This, for me, could potentially be the riders who are in the sprint for the finish, because these Category 2 riders now have got themselves into a group of very similar abilities. And these short, sharp climbs, well, they're staying together.
They are, and that for me says that they are all either very similar ability and types of rider, or there are quite a lot of people playing it very carefully. Now, one rider who's known for not playing it carefully, for going on the offensive, is Elevate, the rider on your screens at the moment. She's now got a gap on Idzik and on Bello, and the group was whittled down. They took out Gentili, they spat her out the back. She's now over 20 seconds down and about 15 seconds separating Gentili from the 2 chasers, Bello and Idzik. That means that it is now 1 rider, Elevate, versus 2 riders, Idzik and Bello. And it may be that Idzik and Bello distancing Gentili played into the hands of an incredibly astute tactical Elevink, because Idzik, Bello and Gentili would be 3-1. By dropping Gentili, Vink has now left only 2 riders behind to chase, and that makes it easier for her. She has got just over 4K to go. This is going to be really interesting. I think we are going to see a very, very interesting finale here.
Well, I think Vink has made the most of the descent on that climb, not just pushing on the climb, but making the most of that descent to put the biggest distance in she can before she pushes on to the finish. Now, the rider in Category 3 making the most of this final climb, well, that's Kokkonen. Novelin Kokkonen has put in a dig. Emily Mabin is the rider trying to go with her. Castano is there. Sanchez is there. McAlpine is there. But these riders are now 6, 7, 8 seconds back, and the rider they are chasing, well, that is Kokkonen. Kokkonen is pushing on. Can she stay clear?
Well, I was just watching those pedal rests going over there, fluctuating a little, which means for me she's right on the limit, trying to find the right gear as the terrain changes a gradient as she goes over the top. It's also a sign she's searching for the maximum out of this climb. So Kokkonen goes over the top. She's not split the group behind. This means it's going to be a pursuit. So the hare who is clear at the front is Kekkonen. On the right of your screen, the hounds behind will have to chase in category 3. Go across to category 2 on the left of your screens. You can see they are also on to the final climb, 28.6k. Remember, this climb tops out at 29 kilometers, so 300 meters now left to go as they hit 28.7k underneath their wheels. And you saw that screen light up, but it is still a big group of riders. Embring, Hermansen, Kong, Daniel in there. You can see that we've got Montoya and Taconis all chasing. They are the riders in category 2. They're at the top of that climb. Category 1. Would you like to guess where they are, Emma?
Well, they're at the bottom. Everything is coming together in Belgium today, but it's 3 riders clear now in category 1. So it is indeed Manshandi, Koinstinen and Bjarhead leading the category 1 race. Now that is 3 riders today who I think are going to make their mark, but which one is going to win? That is the absolute ultimate question.
Now, I'm going to ask the question here of Emma. I'm not sure you're going to know the answer to this because this is going to need some serious memory bank. Have any of those 3 riders won before?
Have they won before?
Yeah.
So Bjarhead has finished 3rd and 5th this month.
Yeah.
Have they won before?
Ever?
I'm taking a think, you know.
I'm not sure they have. I think we could see a brand new winner in category 1 if the 3 riders can go clear. Koisten and Bjarhead and Dega Mashandi. Dega Mashandi's been on this platform like forever. Like since day one. And there is a possibility, but I can't remember it. But my memory's rubbish, as everybody knows. That's why Emma's so good with the stats, because I am absolutely rubbish. However, from my memory, I'm not sure that any of these 3 riders have won before. Dega Mashandi absolutely class out on the bike, as is Bjarhead, as is Koisten. Bjarhead and then Koisten.
No, I would say they have absolutely all had top 5s.
Yep. Without a doubt. I'm not sure if they've all had a win before.
No, I don't think they have.
If you know the answer to this, get in touch. It's really simple. Get in touch on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, or on Twitter. It is at Matt Fixer Paint. It's at Biking Emma. Tag in at MyWhoosh on your answers. Let us know if this is the first time. If you're one of our riders and you want to get in touch, please do. We love to see what you're up to. Don't think that we ignore any of your story. We absolutely love the community here on MyWhoosh, and part of that is sharing your experiences. Show us what your pain goes like, particularly if it's in a Wimmel, obviously. And of course, sharing with us how you got on racing. Was it a good race? Was it a bad race? Did your legs feel like they'd exploded? Do you love the new course? Do you think it's terrible? We always find winners love courses, and people who don't win, and they're not so they don't like it quite as much, oddly enough. But this is all going to come down to that running. Now, riders spread it across a lot of distance here. We have our leader on the road, Elevink, on the right of your screen. She is at 32.9k, nearly 33 kilometers. 2k to the finish. The leaders of category 1 are the last leaders on the road. They're currently at 28.5k. Going to have a lot of riders coming in very, very quickly indeed here. Emma, looking forward to this. Look at our riders. It's going to
be a great finish, because take a look at that Elevink, who is leader on the road at the moment, currently at 33.1. If you take a look, category 3 is still a leading pack at 31.5 kilometers, 31 for category 2. I think category 2 are going to catch category 3 very, very soon. Category 1, 28.6. They started 15 minutes after Elevink, but Elevink is absolutely motoring now. She's got a gap on the riders behind her, and she is absolutely moving. Is she going to be the first rider over the line? Well, that is going to be a serious question. She's coming up for 1.5 kilometers to go. She's got 16 seconds on Idzik. She's got 20 seconds now on Bello. So the chase is on and the race is on behind for 2nd and 3rd. Gentili is now at over a minute, and so is Smithson. Those 2 are going to be racing for 4th and 5th. Acevedo in 6th. Over 2 minutes now on Vink.
And that's very difficult to close down any of those gaps between those riders as they move in. Now, at the top of the Eichenberg climb, the second descent of the Eichenberg plateau up over the ridge, over the moor, it's Koistinen who's got a fractional gap to Bjarhead. but the elastic has snapped to Dega Mashandi. This is telling here because this means Koistonen has put the pressure on. She's used that ground. She's got the polka dot skin suit as the best climber on the day over the 4 of our climbs here today. Koistonen leading. Let's have a look at what that means. So Koistonen went over the top, and look at the gap. She went over 1.085 of a second quicker over the top there. Koistonen and Bjarhed are over the top. Dega Mashandi, you can see the wheels fell off the wagon well and truly. What an effort to stay with him. Now, Madonna Dega Mashandi has to hold on to keep hold of that third place. She cannot let everything go. She'll be losing prize money.
I'll tell you something, Koistonen's been looking good from the get-go today, but Ella Vink is the rider now with 800 metres to go. Is Ella Vink going to be the first rider over the line? I think she's going to be the first in Category 4, definitely. As to whether the categories behind will make the catch, Idzik is 17 seconds behind. Bello, another 17.
Those gaps really have opened, haven't they? And it is the pressure going on those hills. They whittled the group down. They split the group down. This is the run for the finish here. We are in with Ella Vink. She is at 500 meters to go, half a kilometer. It's going to be a big win here. Ella Vink really is showing she's a class act. She knows how to ride. And I tell you something, when you look at her numbers at the end, she rides smart. She doesn't just ride hard.
She knows how to ride, and she definitely knows how to race. And she's got this dialed today. A very different course to last week. But Ella Vink absolutely able to play the game, play the tactics, whatever is thrown in front of her. And today we threw Belgium at her, and she's got a 14-second gap on number 2.
Natalia Idzik, another rider who has really improved. Idzik and Bello.
Well, it's Vink coming in for the win. This is the banner. The celebrations are starting. Ella Vink pushed on that final climb, and she's your winner in Category 4 today.
Great ride by Ella Vink coming through for the win.
Look
Natalia
at that.
Idzik, second place. What a ride by Idzik. And she's got that polka dot skin suit to match as well. Behind this is the run for the line in Category 3. They weren't that far behind. They're currently at 33.7k. They've got 1.3k to go. This is going to be a sprint between them. There is no way somebody's going to break clear now,
I'll
surely.
tell you, 8 riders in that leading group. They're on the flatlands. No one's going to go, I don't think, from that 8 riders leading group in Category 3. Though I tell you something, they're pushing on, you know. They're absolutely trying to lead this out, and they're leading this out fast. So Toloso and Mabin at the moment. There's 5.4 watts per kilo coming from Kekkonen on the front. She's got 1 kilometre to go. That is a really long push from Kekkonen on the front. Push on this Category 3 race at the moment. But it's just setting it up for everybody else for the sprint.
And if it comes to a sprint, Mabin has to be the big danger woman here. She's the one who has a track record. She raced strongly at the start of the championship, the MyWhoosh Championship. A fantastic sprinter. She's got the kick. She's got the green sprint suit, sprinter's skin suit in there. This is about the run. 600 meters to go. They're going to come in front of Category 2, who last we saw were about 600 meters behind. So when these guys come through the line, we're going to be very quickly flicking back across to the chase behind. But look at this long run now. Big sprint. She's opened it up early. Kekkonen's gone early. That was 8 watts per kilo. Can they answer her? This is a brave move by Novelin Kekkonen. Has she caught them napping? No, they're wide awake. They've had their espressos. This is about the catch. Can they go over the top?
Well, the Kekkonen kicks again. Sanchez is there. Toe is Toloso. They are absolutely pushing now, but Kekkonen, she went early. Has she gone too early? Mabin is coming. Matt predicted that. There's the banner. Over the top they go. So Areas is there. Sanchez is there. Castano is there. Areas might take this, but Kekkonen is kicking again. That is absolutely phenomenal. Sanchez looks to me as though she's taken that from Mabin, from Castano, from Areas. Wow.
Manic finish. 3, if not 4, over the line there as they came through in that sprint. So close. Will it be as close here in Category 2? Category 2, still a group coming in, 34.3k in. Solo rider, a quick look back here at Mina Constantin on the left of your screen. She is solo and she has a gap at the moment, and that gap is 20 seconds to Bjarhead, and it is about 50 seconds to Manshandi. That means the gap has been set. Category 1 should be a little bit clearer. Category 2, this is the run for the line. 400 meters to go. Here they come. Is it going to be the same? Are we going to see them all come over the line, split by a photo finish after all of the climbs, all of those bergs? Hermansen's got 11.6, 12 watts per kilo.
She's gone with 300 meters to go as Hermansen kicks, Kong responds, Montoya and Daniel kicks at 8 watts per kilo behind. Are they going to run into her? But I don't think so. I think Hermansen is going to get this. Boy, what a kick from Hermansen. Lisa Hermansen goes over the line. Lam Kong, I think, is going to come through for 2. But it is absolutely flying because Ramirez, the Category 4 rider, is in the mix too.
What a finish, a real fast finish by Categories 4, 3, 2. And it's a long one for Mina Constantin in Category 1. They're the fastest category out there. She's got the gap to Marlene Bjarhead. Great to see Bjarhead right up in the top podium positions here. She has worked so hard to be in that position. She's going to be duly rewarded. Remember, all the results on your screens are live at the moment. They will be unofficial until verified on the website. And you'll see that classic tick in the blue stamp to show that they have been verified when that is complete. Please, please, please do come and join us. Make sure you jump on board, get in touch with us, and make sure you subscribe to MyWhoosh Live on Twitch TV or on YouTube if that is your preferred way of watching. But please make sure you join us for those finals next week, because so far categories 4, 3, and 2 have shown that it's going to be super, super competitive, and that riders are ready to take the chance when it happens. Now, category 1 on their way to the finish, the leader at 34.2k, 800 meters. Mina Constantin, what a ride by her. Super smart riding. She played to her strengths.
You know, she looked strong from the beginning. From the get-go, Constantin looked good. But she did not go out hard, and she did not go out lonely. She stayed with the group, and, you know, the group got smaller and smaller and smaller on every climb until it was just the 3 of them left. And Constantin now has pushed on. Bjarhead now 30 seconds behind.
And Bjarhead has to keep that gap behind. Remember, all of these places are critical in terms of the prizes. Top 5 in each category with prizes available. Now, 400 meters to go. Mina Constantin on the run in. She has got very little distance left. We have seen issues before with riders coming into the finish and losing substantial time, but I don't think she's going to lose the 30 seconds. What a ride by Mina Constantin. Here she goes. She's coming in to the line. It is Mina Constantin. What a solo.
So Constantin comes towards the finish. She's been on form since the start. Mina Constantin out of the saddle into the finish. She takes the win today in the Category 1 race.
What a ride by Mina Constantin in the top spot. It's going to be Marlene Bjarhead coming through. The Swedes having a good day out at the races once again, and we're really looking forward to seeing riders from around the globe coming to race on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club finals next week. It's going to be an absolute cracker. Emma's going to be leading the show. I'm going to be over at UCI duties, but I'm going to be joining from the venue and watching and joining in with the action here. So it is a second place. Fantastic ride by Marlene Bjarhead coming in and through over the line. Second place in Category 1. You can see there she came through in the end at 36.949 seconds down. We are going to see the third of those riders, Madana Dega Mashani, come through for third, I think, which will put her nicely up in the top 3. Great racing. Belgium did not disappoint, did it?
No, it didn't at all. And different tactics in each of the 4 races, leading us to some really great sprint finishes, but also that solo win from Koistinen in Category 1.
So don't forget, we love you to tell us what you've been up to. We love to see what you've been doing. My name's Matt Payne. You can follow me across all the social media platforms at Matt Fixer Payne. Where can we get in touch with you?
You can find me on Instagram at Biking Emma, or indeed on X, formerly known as Twitter.
So don't forget, get in touch with Emma and myself whilst you're on there. Please, please, please do make sure that you tag in and check out MyWhoosh online. It's MyWhoosh on Instagram and Facebook, my_whoosh on the platform formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. And don't forget, of course, make sure you subscribe. Great racing, great action. Massive thank you to, first of all, the riders for making the action, the team behind the scenes for bringing you the pictures, to Emma here in the commentary box with me, but most of all to you for watching. We will be back with the men's race very shortly. In the meantime, time to refuel, rehydrate, practice that feeding, practice drinking without breathing at the same time, and we will see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.